So this chick who cannot draw for shit, what's her name? Aubrey Plaza or something? Yeah, this is 3-3. Yeah, this chick, God, she sucks as an artist. If you want to judge how good someone is at drawing, check out the hands. What is that Klansman finger she's got poking in there?
Well, she got a pointy one just in case she needs.
Don't itch your eye with that one, lady.
No,
she's got a big fat uncircumcised penis for another one.
Yeah.
And you can tell she just hammered out this comic when you'll see the other pictures. But anyway, what's her name?
Her name is Aubrey Hirsch.
Aubrey Hirsch. Women are increasingly unhappy. This comic explains why. All right,
because I can't draw.
Drawing is hard. That's why they're unhappy. They don't feel satisfied by their look how shitty that is. Like, look at their mouths. And it gets worse. So American women have made incredible progress since 1970. You can go through it. And so it just starts out speaking truth to power, but explaining our point, which is everything's getting better for them. You got more educated. You got what you asked for. And what happens? You're fucking miserable. You don't have to go through it this slowly. And there they are. Their satisfaction has gone down. So this is what I always say, too, about the left. They get fucked over when they find data that contradicts their beliefs, and they become more steadfast in those beliefs. So unlike scientists, they start on a path, and then when the data says, no, that's not what happened, they just go, yes, it is. So her mental gymnastics in this are that, yes, we are less happy since feminism and since working in the workforce, but it's because we still have to do chores. Okay, just a little break here. I like how she's pushing diversity, and then she ends up making black men look lazy.
Yeah.
That's the problem with equality. But look how bad... No, go back to that panel. Look how bad she's at drawing feet.
Oh, jeez.
That woman's right foot. And then look at his left leg. Like his hip goes all the way up to his tits.
Oh, yeah. And his leg is actually protruding from his...
So her contention is, yeah, we're unhappy, but it's because you make us still fold laundry.
Yeah.
No, lady, that's not why you're unhappy. You're unhappy because you're a wizard. You're Superman. And we said, hey, Superman, don't fly. Don't save any more lives. I just want you to be Clark Kent. Oh, wait, look at this one. It's especially now harder because we see what we're missing. Go back to the, especially now that we're finally close enough to see what we're missing. So before they didn't know how awesome it was to be a man. Let me explain to you what it is to run a company as a CEO. It fucking sucks. It's really, really hard. You're going through expense reports. You're going through Excel spreadsheets. You're looking at all of this data all day long. Men like it because we have testosterone, and testosterone is a concentration drug, and we like going through numbers and trying to make things better for everyone and trying to generate more profits. That's a fun little video game to us. But women don't like it. And now that you're in our shoes, I think they think that we just had these Mad Men lunches with bourbon at a strip club. No, we eat at our desk. We're working our fucking asses off. And it's not fun. And more importantly, you're not genetically predisposed to do it. You're genetically predisposed to love. And we took that away. Superman can't fly. When Superman is only Clark Kent, Superman is miserable. And that's what they're learning. Anyway, side note, I was looking up that woman, and she's a really tedious Midwestern feminist, terrible artist who, just like that gay black guy who did the slave play, people just pander to because of affirmative action and the lack of meritocracy in our society. And I saw she was on some panel with a bunch of ugly, fat lesbian cartoonists. And this is not really anything to do with what I'm talking about. This is more about the jargon of academia. I only check in on academia like once every 5 years. And every time I do, I just come out going, what the fuck did I just see? So this is a panel that cartoonist was on. And that fat woman, look at her fucking arms.
Wait, which one is it? The one in the middle?
That's not her. No, she's sitting on that same couch on the other end. You'll see her in a second.
Oh.
But yeah, those are all like cartoonists and poets and blah, blah, blah. And they're all speaking in this crazy jargon. And I just wanted to parse it for a second. So this is a question Aubrey gets asked at Yale. Yale. This is supposed to be one of our finest educational institutions. Shit, I can't speak. Told you this show was going to bite. But let's try to understand what the fuck this professor is saying. Turn it up.
Yeah. And certainly none of your stories, any of you on this stage, are oversimplified or innocent or right. This is what makes you all so wonderful here.
That's her.
Your capacity to tell this more complex story.
Okay, let's
I'm
pause.
wondering.
That's fine. We're now speaking English. None of your stories are oversimplified. I don't think that's necessarily true, but at least it's in English. And you guys are complex storytellers. Okay, you're kissing their ass. It's probably not true, but whatever. At least it's English. Now this is where it goes haywire.
I'm sort of going back to my question about who you're writing for, right? Because to the extent that the sort of first pass of that was about writing for your earlier selves.
Pause. All English so far.
Yeah.
Your first draft, your first pass of storytelling was referring to your earlier self. You were writing, going through the baggage you had when you were a teenager. You probably did a bunch of auto-bio stuff about adolescence. Fine. We're still speaking English. I'm still on board with Yale.
This feels to me like part of that is being able to hold out for those selves or the sort of permutations of those selves that are out in the world.
Pause.
The notion that
Holding out for those permutations of those selves that are out in the world. So now you're saying you're using other people's stories in your story, I guess, is what she's getting at. But we're slowly losing the English now. Now we're fading into psychotic jargon that no one in the real world uses. These poor academics must get out in the real world and say, so, boss, are we going to be focusing on intersectionality? Are those two things going to have a dialogue? What? They're a different fucking race.
in order to have this count, you don't have to have been fully innocent. And as I say that, I don't mean to that the complexity always has to be there, right? Because the flip side is, as soon as you give up on the innocence, then, well, it must have been all your fault, or, you know, you must have deserved it. So keeping that balance just seems so critical. Tied into that balance, I think, is you were speaking about this a few minutes ago, the need to move between the individual, the specificity of the individual stories.
Pause.
The specificity.
The
of
need
the
to move from the individual specificity of that story. What the fuck does that mean? The need to move from the individual specificity of that story.
Because you're writing about yourself biographically.
No, shut up, Brian. This is way over your head.
No,
I'm a genius, and I'm barely hanging on.
Because you have to relate to other people, so you have to lose the autobiographical specificity to the individual, which is you, the writer.
Go back a cunt hair.
Okay.
Into that balance, I think, is you were speaking about this a few minutes ago, the need to move between the individual, the specificity of the individual stories, and all of the broader cultural patterns, right? The patterns of power and privilege and oppression.
She's really just talking about how to crowbar social justice bullshit into every fucking story you tell. Like slave play. Go ahead.
That the histories, the very particular histories that you're tapping into, that give those individual specificities their meaning.
Okay.
They give those individual specificities meaning. Okay, I get it now. So the individual specificities is like when I had my first period when I was 13. And then you're crowbarring in sexism and intersectionality and all the bullshit fucking agenda shit you have to do. And tying it to that individual specificity. Specificity? I've never heard anyone say the word specificity in my fucking life. Never. I only know what it means because I can guess.
Yeah.
But no one says specificity. Specificity?
And by
specificity.
Specificity. Specificity of our city.
She's just trying to sound smart because she's in over her head. This is what they do. This is like astrology. Women feel overwhelmed by science, so they make up a fake science with Aquarius and Libra, and then they become an expert on that stupid bullshit. It's like card reading, which fucking Milo does.
Yeah, he does.
Go ahead.
And at the same time, those very patterns are so often about the erasure of specificity, right? So once you try to
those very patterns are about the erasure. Why is she are about the erasure of specificity? You mean about erasing specific details? Like, why don't they fucking speak English?
That's weird.
Erasure of specificity. I remember one time I took this class in college, the philosophy of science, which was a stupid move on my part. And the guy would speak in this jargon. And one day I said, you know what? I'm not letting one thing go by that I don't understand. And it was exactly the same as this. And he would just say like, all right, so before we focus on the erasure of specificity, I was like, what does that mean? What do you mean by specificity? And my arm, I was like Hitler, Sieg Heiling to the ceiling, and eventually he just told me, look, we have to get through this class. I'm not answering a question every 30 seconds. And I didn't have the courage back then, but I just should have said, well, then speak in English.
Yeah.
You're not making any sense. You're speaking in a made-up language. It's like when lawyers, you ever get a contract from a lawyer and you go, this is taking too long. Give me that contract. I'll answer this. And then you start reading and you go, I don't understand any of this.
The divisive exclusionary system of the elaborate...
Heretofore.
Yeah.
Okay, go back.
They get those things in those individual specificities, their meaning. And at the same time, those very patterns are so often about the erasure of specificity, right? So once you try to get those things in dialogue with each other.
Pause. And once you want to try to get these things in dialogue with each other. Imagine if you're at a meeting in the real world and you say, hey guys, so we're going to talk about HR, human resources, sorry, and also, productivity, and sort of getting these two things to have a dialogue with each other. People would laugh. You definitely, at one person in the boardroom would go, what? Oh, I want them to have two things to have a dialogue with each other. Things don't speak.
Well, it's good that at least they all speak this language, and that's not gonna trip any of these guys up, because it's like that's how they speak.
Oh,
to
it
each
trips
other.
up Aubrey, all right.
Oh no, I couldn't imagine so.
Curious about that, if you could talk about how you are, from all of your really different angles, weighing the broader circulating dynamics without ever having that lose sight of the person, the actual whole human person at the center.
These broader dynamics?
That one was bad.
That question, by the way, I'll just tell you what the question is.
Yeah.
You're doing auto-bio stuff. It's very specific to your life, and I'm sure initially you get all your yayas out talking about how hard adolescence was. But then eventually you want to start having bigger themes. And how do you retain your sort of your style, your individuality when you're talking about sexism and racism and all that stuff?
And then also losing your innocence in there, and then trying to pertain to other people, but not trying to follow the patterns too much, and then keep the individuality.
Okay, Ryan, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
No, I get
you
it.
Just joined them. Okay, go ahead, lady. Go, Aubrey.
Yeah, it's an interesting question.
Just pause. They don't understand each other. That's the craziest part. So one person speaks in gobbledygook gibberish for 5 minutes, that seemed like, and then the other person goes, how am I going to answer that? I know. I'll just start talking my own version of gibberish, and it's almost like jazz musicians just going ding dong bong, ding 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 ding, bling 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 blang 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 blang.
Yeah.
No one's moving forward. If I was a teacher and this was all written out, I would just be like superfluous. This whole paragraph can go. This is extraneous. Nope. It's so inefficient. Go, Aubrey. And by the way, while you're up there, can you explain to us why women are less happy since feminism?
Why are they all looking to her, by the way, too?
Because they're like,
directed
thank
towards
God
her?
I didn't get it. Yeah.
Oh.
They're like, thank God I did not get asked that question. Because I didn't understand it.
Yeah, it's an interesting question.
Yes?
How you kind of add in research to your piece to give it that kind of universal feeling, or to tap into what's going on. Some of my writing, a lot of my writing has to do with medicine and trauma, or science and trauma in some way, like memory.
What a fucking loser.
She doesn't seem that bad, this Aubrey.
What do you mean doesn't seem that bad? I'm not saying she's Satan. She's talentless and has nothing to say.
Absolutely. But I like how she doesn't fit in with these weirdos. She's like, I'm
going to try to speak English.
Yeah. She laughed because it was that ridiculous and looked at somebody else like, do you believe this fucking shit?
By the way, speaking of fucking clown world,